What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday. We're missing some people. Anyway, Tuesday night, you know what that means. It is time for Flyers Talk A to D. Tonight we got fun conversation. Like usual, we seem to have live reactions coming at you on Tuesday. So we're reacting to the second half of the home and home with the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is currently tied up at 2-2. About 7 minutes to play here in the second period. We're also going to talk about we're essentially going to recap the Western road trip, what you thought, how the team played. Basically, we want your takeaways as well. So make sure you drop all your comments and stuff in the chat, be a part of the show. We are coming at you now. So hit that like, hit that subscribe. It's time to talk some puck. Let's go.
This is Flyers Talk A to D, and we are powered by the doc. That is Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, with 2 locations, Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. If you're in the New Jersey, South Jersey area, check out our doc. Make them yours. Visit them at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Yeah, we're missing some people. We're down. We're shorthanded. Matt Sudi and Brad Ryer are off this week, but we're hitting the ice with the dynamic duo of Hockey Talk, Brian Daly, yours truly, Rob Povia. Be sure to hit that like. Baby. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe for notifications to all your favorite shows here on A2D Radio. Like Brian broke down, we have live reactions to Flyers Leaves, currently 2-2 in the second period, roughly about 5 minutes left to go. And we'll discuss key takeaways from said holiday road trip. But first, we want your opinion. So that's what this show is about. You are the lifeblood. We want your opinion to our face-off poll, which is the Flyers played good hockey despite the record and results coming off the road trip. Agree or disagree? We'll be reading your comments all throughout the podcast. But first, Brian, I want to get your take. What pulse do you have from this team coming home to the Wells Fargo Center tonight?
I mean, you're definitely seeing a bump tonight. You saw it in the first period. This team has come to play tonight. I think they took a lot of positives out of that game against Toronto. We knew last week heading into this little bit of a stretch for the Flyers, it was going to be tough. They're going to have some tests. You know, they went up against Vegas where they got smoked 5-2. They went to Toronto. They went into Toronto, held their own against a very tough Toronto Maple Leafs team who was just getting their captain back in Austin Matthews, who was able to hold them to only 3 goals, one of them coming in overtime. So great effort there overall by these guys. They're hanging in with them again tonight. Like I said, 2-2, about the second half of the second period. And, you know, you got a tough game against Dallas coming up too on Thursday night. So, this is a good test for seeing where this team is. We obviously know this team is going to not be the same roster come the trade deadline, come March. Hopefully there's some big changes coming, but I think we're seeing a lot of positive things, especially from some of the younger guys. Noah Cates having a really good stretch here. Tyson Forrester having a really good stretch here. Guys we want to see take the next step. And then you got guys stepping up like TK. These guys that we expect to see putting up multiple points a game. You know, he's got 2 goals tonight. You need to see more of this. And for me, I agree. Despite the results, despite some of the effort in some of these games, I'm really positive about what this team is doing right now and how they're coming along. And, you know, like I said, Robbie, obviously things are going to change in the next couple months as far as this roster is going to go. Players are going to get traded. But, you know, I'm seeing a lot of positive things from guys in the lineup, especially some of these depth guys down in the third and fourth lines.
Yeah, one of the lines I get geeked up the most is that third line with Noah Cates, Forrester, and Brink. Now, we saw Forrester take an undisciplined penalty in tonight's game with a high stick being a little loose against one of the best players in the game, and you know the refs are going to call that. So there's there's still mistakes being made. I do agree with you, Brian, that this team is showing a lot of positives. I like the forecheck. We're seeing that result in some great chances. We saw it during the holiday trip. We saw it. We're seeing it tonight, right? Where Noah Cates does a great job forechecking and beats TK for his second goal. And coming off, Sunday's game against Toronto, one of the best players in the world, Austin Matthews, said TK is the most underrated NHL player. And that's high praise. So seeing, TK backing that up with 2 goals tonight is nice. So there's been some finish. I've liked overall what I've been seeing in the offensive zone. But I'm going to have to disagree with this, Paul. I'm going to have to disagree with you, right? I don't like the overall consistency with the back checking. You see it here and there. And then Noah Cates, after doing a great job on the forecheck, doesn't get in front of the best said player or best goal scorer in the NHL right now and tees him up right between the dots for the second goal tonight. So you're seeing these mistakes. You're seeing like Cam York has come to play tonight, but otherwise he's been a ghost, especially defensively. And there's a lot of defensive mistakes that I'm seeing. Now, this could be tired players. Maybe this Four Nations tournament can't come soon enough for a young team that's playing a lot of hockey in a short amount of period of time against some stiff competition. But overall, on the defensive end, I'm not like what I'm seeing. I'm also seeing it's not a surprise that we've seen Fedotov play in both these games against the Maple Leafs because Kolosov, to his credit, has been excellent post to post, showing that speed that we once saw from a former Russian Flyers goaltender in Sergei Bobrovsky. But against Vegas, he looked very, very, very slow to me, pipe to pipe. A guy that's been playing, a lot of hockey at the NHL level, says he's ready. You're always got to have that little slump as a rookie. So overall, I think there's some things that can tighten up. I'm happy with the resultant road trip going 2-3-1. I was hoping for, that they would have taken one of those games. But when you play the Vegas Golden Knights in their building and Toronto Maple Leafs north of the border, that's a tough test, Brian.
No, for sure. Anytime you go into Toronto, it's a tough test. And I agree with quite a bit of what you said. The back check definitely has to be better. I've been kind of preaching this too for the last few weeks, and I know me and Brad will always disagree on this. The Flyers need to get some forwards that can play defense. You need a solid two-way 200-foot centerman that can help shut teams down. I think if you had the right centerman in that position, Austin Matthews doesn't score. But you got to tip the cap to Toronto there. Great puck movement. Like Kevin Weeks said in the broadcast, good puck movement, good movement whatsoever brings confusion. And that's exactly what happened there. But they have to figure out a way to get some of these centers to help out on the defensive side. That's going to be the way to go. That's definitely going to be the way to help this team take that next step, especially defensively, and find some consistency on the back end. And hopefully, it turns into not having costly turnovers and hopefully transition the other way. And we know this team likes to score off the rush. The best way for the Flyers to do that, and we've seen it, is by having a strong back check and a strong defensive play. But like you said, it's been inconsistent and
up and down the lineup. Yeah.
Yep. And for me, it's got to get a good, solid, strong 200-foot centerman. Doesn't have to be a top line center, second or third line. I will forever say, and I know Jesse, I saw the Old City guys on the YouTube side. I don't know if Jesse's in here yet. Shane Pinto, that's my guy.
Yeah.
See Don in the chat. What's up, Don? It has been a minute.
What up, D?
Got some guys chiming in here while I see you sharing the show there, Robbie. We got Eddie Everett chiming in, saying, yo, Flyers fam. He also agrees to the poll. Heather's chiming in, saying, hey, boys, and she's happy, and I think we both know why.
Yeah, Fedotov, back-to-back starts. Yes.
Yep.
I'm getting to know Heather well. Welcome. Mm-hmm. Thanks for joining us as always.
Then we got Joe Horkowski chiming in. Joe, it's been a minute too, brother. Hope you're doing well. Happy New Year. He's saying what's up to the boys.
So
Chuck's, check him out on Monday on Eagles Talk. And they're actually got a new show coming out. I believe they're recording Tuesday night and going live on Wednesday. I believe it's him and Pete Evans, but also check him out live on Mondays on Eagles Talk. And then Benny chiming in saying, what's up, boys?
Benny,
Heather's also torn on the pole.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing good things and you're seeing bad things. And tonight's game has been an epitome of that. That first period, 10-1 in shots, right? And you're keeping, a Toronto team that's quite prolific in scoring. And I'm going to go to my boy, Jorge Pucks. He's my DFS guy from Elite Fantasy. He breaks it down every week with his goalie matrix and his power play matrix and his DFS articles. But he breaks it down, right, where on the power play, you're looking at a team that, has been struggling, 18th in the league on the power play rank, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the Philadelphia Flyers, they on the shorthand have been 8th in the league over the past 25 games. So, we saw that in that first period where the Flyers short, PK was getting more shots on goal than the Toronto power play.
Yeah. Just in that one of the last ones alone, I don't think it was the one of Tyson Forster. I think it was Owen Tippett's boarding call, where they had the 2-on-1 early on, and then Garnet Hathaway, of all people, had to break away. We saw why Garnet Hathaway doesn't do breakaways.
Yeah, but the ice has been
really,
really bouncy up there. I don't know what they had going on in terms of other events or what have you, but I've seen players on both sides lose control of the puck. It's not playing well tonight.
Yeah, it could be residual damage done from Disney on Ice while they were here for the 2-week span.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
But the one thing I will say, through 40 minutes of play here, as the second period's coming to a wrap up here, shot differential 19-8 in the Flyers' favor. The one thing I will say is the defense is not giving Toronto any good chances. And unfortunately, the 2 chances they have given them, they've scored on. I got to give it to this defense a little bit. They are playing really tough against Toronto, not giving them a ton of chances. And it also seems like this offense is spending quite a bit of time in the offensive zone. That's something I wanted to see more from this team.
Right.
And I think we're starting to see that a little bit more.
And they're generating that offensive presence, to your point, Brian, because this Toronto Maple Leafs team, as good as they are offensively, they've been pretty tight defensively under Coach Craig Berube, and that's no big surprise. Over the last 25 games, they're 4th in the league in terms of shots allowed, and the Flyers have more than doubled them up in this game. So that, and you go back to last game as well, right? The Flyers, hanging tough against a team that has been playing awfully good hockey so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, this Toronto Maple Leafs team is a little rejuvenated under Craig Berube. Even Jonathan Tavares, I feel like, has kind of gotten a little spark back in his game as he netted 1 tonight for Toronto. It was, we always knew that this team wasn't going to be easy, regardless of who the head coach is. It's an extremely talented team. They have the depth offensively. They got a little better. They got some depth defensively in this offseason, picking up guys like re-signing Jake McCabe and bringing in Oliver Ekman Larson. And so you get some depth there. The biggest question mark is, to me, for Toronto all season long was going to be, is the goaltending going to hold up? It's held up pretty damn well. Fortunately for the Flyers, they're not seeing Stolarz right now because I believe he's on the IR.
Yes, the injury,
Yeah, so lucky for them because listen, the best backup in the league, in my opinion. There's no one that no one can change my mind on that. Stolarz, since leaving Philadelphia, has just been an absolute stud. He's understood his role, and he's flourished in it everywhere that he's been. That being said, the goaltending tandem that they have right now between Wall and Hilferty, Hilferty, it's something close to that. He's a rookie or second-year player, but these guys are still playing well. They're getting strong defensive play out in front, and that's helping the goaltending kind of hold up. I think that's kind of answered my question on whether I honestly think that with the way that they're playing under Craig Berube and the magic that he's had in the past, I think we can safely say that this Toronto team could potentially make it out of the first round again this year for the second time in 3 years, I believe. Never thought I'd actually say that.
Well, I mean, they got pretty stellar goaltending from Stoli, the goalie, and he will be back. That MRI showed no structural damage to his knee. I believe he got hurt mid-December, so they gave a rough 4 to 6 week estimate. So hopefully he can get back. But Joseph Woll, 13-1, 248 goals against on a 914, right? And he's getting lots of ice time right now and looking really sharp. Tonight, I think the first goal he could have made a better effort for, and he's gotten a little too deep in the net. It's resulted in some plays that had to be looked at. Might have crept over that line, and if not for a guy that's redefined his career, Max Pacioretty, making a save himself there, this could be a 3-2 Flyers lead right now. But overall, you got to like what they're getting between the pipes. Defensively, though, they are down, to your point, Jake McCabe. And that's a serious loss after his head hit the ice last game. So definitely thoughts and prayers out to him. Hopefully, I mean, you never want to see even your opposition or rivals take a lick like that.
No, absolutely not. And obviously, speedy recovery, Jake McCabe. And I'm not going to lie, I was kind of hoping he was going to play tonight because I wanted to see what was going to happen between him and Hathaway after the little
right
mishap from last night, or the other night, I should say, not last night. I'm curious to see if Max Domi is going to get anything. Well, not anything more, but if he can get himself into a little bit more of a precarious situation after deliberately throwing a couple elbows that I think it's hard to tell that they weren't deliberate. Especially the second one. You can see he definitely tried to go upon the first one. Second one, you actually saw him kind of try and come back with it. So there was definitely intent there.
Right. Well, he wasn't able to make it back in the lineup to answer that bell, but Toronto did have a good hefty hand to turn to by inserting Ryan Reeves into the lineup tonight. So you can best believe they thought it was pretty deliberate, but so far, it's resulted in only an undercard, a little tussle from Farabee, and that's good to show him sticking up too, right? He's got to earn his way back to top 6 minutes, just like Sean Couturier's got to earn his way back up to top 6 minutes right now. Both of them kind of in towards his doghouse. American Loyalists chiming in. Flyers will get their goaltender one day in free agency. Brian, you agree or disagree with that?
Absolutely disagree. They got two really good goaltenders that could be franchise guys in their pipeline right now, in Carson Bjornsson and Yegor Zavragin. Zavragin right now just absolutely crushing everything in Russia. Just going to be a question of when is he going to come over. The guys were saying on Flyers Talk the other day, or Flyers Alley, check him out. If you haven't yet, definitely go give the guys over at Old City a like and a sub. They do a really good job over there, especially Flyers Alley. Love what Jesse and Corey are doing over there. Erisson's going to be traded, I think. And I know there's a couple people in this chat that are going to agree with me on that. I thought, the more I think about it, Fedotov and Kolosov kind of make a little bit more sense at the moment, especially if they wind up going with Zavragin as the goalie of the future. It just makes more sense to have the Russian guys all play together. Plus, it takes a little bit off of Zamula's plate and being an interpreter, so that's kind of beneficial in that sense. But you can also get a better haul for Sam Ersson than you can one of the other two guys. They were saying also that the pull could be a lot better for Ersson, so he could be the big deal at the deadline this year. So,
I said that a few weeks ago. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but it just makes sense for where this club is right now, right? and then ultimately the way they've drafted and the way they want to, like right away you went to answer the commenter's question with kids that we haven't even seen yet, right? So yeah, there is a deep pipeline here. Don, I wish the Wings give Casa opportunity. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's time. It's time. Rip off the Band-Aids, like Casa. He's supposed to be the future. And this kid that the Wings have, Team USA. Wow. Okay. Wings might have another guy in a pipeline that could be really, really good for them. If anybody watched the U18 tournament, that kid, man, that Detroit has, it's absolutely outstanding tournament. Taps off USA. Let's go.
Yeah, sadly, I have not watched much as I'd like to. Same. I did when you stream, you miss DVR a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing too. Like they put everything on the NHL Network, so it's just kind of like I don't have the NHL Network as much as I want it. I'm paying out the asshole and cable anyway, so I just wasn't going to pay any more for it. But I get to watch. I got to watch the replays at work. Benefits of working in a hockey store.
Filthy goal from Austin Matthews. If you're just tuning in and you don't have access to ESPN Plus, it's 2-2, second intermission. American Loyalty is coming back. When do the window open? I guess he's referring to the two young netminders that Brian brought up in Bjornsson and Zabragan. Someone to start off. If neither is ready for when the window open, then we need a starter. But Koloslav is a young netminder that easily could turn into that franchise guy as well. And he's right now playing on your NHL. This team is depth, and you do have Harrison in the meantime before you move him too. So you got to like where the Flyers goaltending situation is currently. And Heather is saying yes, keep the Russians. Yeah, I mean, it just makes too much sense for where this team's going. Where you got to see what you got for the future. You're not looking for right now.
Yeah, and to build off of what you were saying there, Robbie, like for right now, maybe all right. Let's say Kolosov and Fedotov aren't the guys of the future. They're good enough for right now for what the Flyers are trying to do. They're not competing. They're not tanking either, and they're not going to as long as John Tortorella is the head coach. And plus, I'm not a believer in tanking. It makes no sense to do anymore with how everything is set up for the NHL and the draft lottery. You're not guaranteed a number one pick. So it just makes no sense to tank. So for right now, Kolosov, Fedotov, Harrison, any combo of those two are going to wind up being your guys of right now until one of those two are ready. But then to me, it's Zabragan. He's going to be, to me, he's your franchise guy. But I've been known to be wrong from time to time.
It's hard to peg, and so is the Flyers upper brass as well. John Malmus, what up? Chiming in. Good evening. So far, playing solid hockey. Give me 20 minutes more, and I'll be happy. Hopefully, you all had a great New Year. Yes, same to you. Happy New Year, fam. Happy 2025. It's hard to believe we've already been in the 2000s for a quarter century. Ugh. Think about that. Think about that. Yeah.
I feel so old.
And he goes on to say, yes, trade Sam, throw in a pick and get either a center or defense. They do have 3 picks in the first 2 rounds for this draft. And there's some conjecture. I mean, there is a lot of talent heavy up. But then after that, to Flyers Alley point, I was listening to their show the other day. It does kind of get soft after that. So maybe you do want to dish Harrison and one of your mid-second round picks, right, to get that 200-foot center, like we've been talking about. To your point, I would love a Shane Pinto. That would be great. Dylan Cousins.
Somebody that can, just somebody that can help support the defense. I like, there's enough offensive talent on this roster that they can do some damage on the scoreboard. Just got to give some of them some time. Fairby, I'm okay with trading. Frost, I'm okay with trading. Forster, give him a little bit more time to develop. Brink, give him a little bit more time to develop. Kate, there's a lot of people on the fence with Cates. For me, I want Cates here. Cates has proven to be a very valuable bottom 6 forward who can play and do some of the blue collar work that doesn't seem like a lot of the guys on the top 6 want to do. So that to me there gives me some value in him. And obviously you're not going to have to overpay to keep him. Speaking of Jesse, there he is.
There he is. What's up, brother? I only saw highlights on YouTube, but that was some great hockey. Yeah, I mean, like, and we'll get into it. We're going to talk about, the Flyers. Like, they didn't have to go on their Western Canada trip. They started the year with that, and if you recall, struggled, as a young team will do on a long road trip. And we saw some up and downs during this holiday trip, but we saw far more ups than downs. And then you didn't have to do that Western Canadian trip. I'd love to do the California trip around. Hey, who wants to not, if you're into Die Hard being a Christmas movie, you want to spend it on the West Coast, right?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
Come out to the coast. We'll have a few laughs.
I'm not a Die Hard Christmas movie person. Just because it takes place during Christmas doesn't make it a Christmas movie.
Sure.
It's not the main theme of the movie, but if you think it is, it's fine. We'll agree to disagree. That's what we do
right
here.
Let me ask you this, Brian. Right? We talked about the stars on this team. You look at Austin Matthews, you look at William Nylander, you look at Mitch Marner. These are the names that, people you need to defend, right? Who's that under the radar guy that makes Toronto such a tough team to play against?
Oh, that's a great question. I think it's a young kid. I think it's Matthew Knies. Matthew Knies has proved that he can be a thorn in the side of a lot of teams. He's fast. He's creative with the puck. He can get open. He's got good vision. He's a really good skater. Granted, whatever happens this year with this team, you're going to see some age probably, and to nobody's surprise, it's going to be Jonathan Tavares who's out. Matthew Knies is going to be that guy who's going to be able to take up that role and be that valuable top 6 player that they're going to miss in a guy like JT. I'm not going to say that they're the same player because they're not. I think Knies has some more offensive upside. I think he could be a better goal scorer than Jonathan Tavares. But as an overall playmaker, Matthew Knies is the guy who's just under the radar, and it's only because of his age. It's not because of a lack of ability or anything like that. He's just because he's like 22 or 23 years old. He's surrounded by guys like William Nylander. He's overshadowed by guys like Nylander, Marner, Matthews, Tavares. But he's putting his name out there to be a very well-known offensive threat.
Sometimes you just set it up and your spiker just drives it home, because that's exactly the name that I was thinking about when I was doing research, what I saw Sunday and so far before we went on air tonight's game. What a good thing about how I stream is that I get access to all these feeds, and I had access to Sportsnet, and I was watching the Toronto Maple Leafs broadcast for a little bit, and Coach Craig Berube called out Knies for not playing aggressive enough. Sound familiar? Philadelphia, John Tortorella. And what does this player come out and do? He's playing extremely well, extremely aggressive, and creating lots of high danger scoring chances. So I definitely think that's who you need to defend, in terms of, outside maybe the big 3, but maybe even right up there with the big 3. Also, I saw Heather drop the comment earlier. I know Torts isn't a fan of Fedotov, but I think Ivan has showed great progress and improvement, and that he wants to be here. I couldn't agree with that statement more. And I think these past 2 games has been Fedotov's reward. Also playing third fiddle for a while. Tortorella came out, Jamie Boscal from Flyers Nitty Gritty came out and said that he gave, John Tortorella gave Fedotov a lot of credit for being a stand-up guy and doing what's good for the team, and being that third string goaltender in a tough situation. You never really want to rock 3 like that, because the guy's going to have to sit out, and he's getting rewarded with some playing time. And I think this also allows Coley some time to get a breather as well. So I think Torts is becoming a fan of Fedotov.
I don't necessarily know if it's being a fan or not. I just think he saw better things out of Ersson and out of Kolosov than he saw in Fedotov. Don't get me wrong. Fedotov has turned a corner. He's playing much better than he did at the beginning of the year. And I'm not going to take that away from him. I think he saw more promise out of Kolosov and Ersson. And obviously, he's going to trust Ersson because he's had Ersson over to last year and a half, 2 years, something like that.
Right.
So the trust is already there with Ersson.
Right.
I think he quickly saw that Kolosov did some of the little things better than Fedotov. But obviously, we're seeing here in 2 games against Toronto, Duke can hang. Like, we knew this. Like, we saw this happening. So it wasn't. I don't think it's a question of fandom, more so just promise and ability. Again, like I said this at the beginning of the year, with where the Flyers are right now as far as this rebuild goes, it's continued evaluation after evaluation after evaluation. Torts probably sat for Dotov because he saw better things out of Kolosov. That's simple.
Yeah.
Just saw a bigger window for him. And yeah, the Ducks are looking solid. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. Oddly enough, after the Cam Fowler trade, this team really turned it on. Playing better defensively, getting great goaltending from Gibby and Dostal. Leo Carlson playing really strong. I like the way that he's been playing lately. Vetrano, after signing his contract extension, really had a great game the other night. And they're just finding ways to win. Putting the puck in the dirty areas, getting some dirty goals. They're getting some pretty goals from Terry, who will not be playing tonight, by the way, for those of you that are going to be watching the Ducks and Calgary Flames game at 10 o'clock tonight. I will be. Want to give a shout out to Troy Terry and his wife for having, I believe it's baby number 2. So he's out on maternity. Going to go have a baby with his wife. So obviously congrats to him.
Don't speak so soon. You have to still be awake and conscious to watch a game at 10 o'clock. I don't know if you're going to make it, my friend.
Oh, I got to edit tonight, brother. I got to make our clips tonight. I'll be up.
All right.
I'll be up. It's just a matter of how late I'm going to make it.
Right. Yeah, Jesse, love to have you, man. Anytime, man. You're welcome on the show anytime. Speaking of which, if this is the first time you're watching our show, thank you. First of all, you are the lifeblood. You are what makes A2D Radio tick. So make sure you hit that like, comment, get your opinions heard, share, hit that bell for notifications so you get notified for all the awesome shows that we get here on A2DRadio.com all week long. Getting more hockey programs. Always love to hear that. So we talked about the Anaheim Ducks being one of the teams that the Flyers faced on their holiday road trip out west, and a team that had been playing well, but the Flyers handled pretty well. And the Sharks are also a rebuilding team, right? They're on the come up, and so you can't get too excited when the Flyers win. But in a 4-0 shutout in the Shark Tank, they've also been playing well, including their rookie phenom, Macklin Celebrini. So overall, I want to kind of get, as we will still be feeding into as the game has started in the third period, and I'm seeing Scotty Lawton being helped out to the dressing room after taking a collision. We'll get to that in just a second, but we will be still live reacting to the Toronto Maple Leafs, Philadelphia Flyers. If you want to break down the hit, go for it, Brian.
Friendly fire. Mitchkov and Lawton just not paying attention to where they're going. Mitchkov's got a little bit of a raspberry on his cheek now.
Yeah. He caught it up high. He caught it. Lawton caught it in the sternum a little bit there.
Yeah. First of all, what a badass that guy is. What a badass Mitchkov is. Hopefully it's not anything serious with Lawton, and it's just maybe he just got the wind knocked out of him. Hopefully he's still on the bench.
Right there. That's what I'm hoping too. When you get hit in the sternum like that, but I will say that's sort of indicative of a critique that Coach John Tortorella has had, and that's been Mitchkov's 5-on-5 play in terms of positioning. These are the type of things you're going to see. It's not bad news bears. It's a rebuilding team. So, in a case of, was Lawton been in the league 12 years?
It feels like it. I'm not 100% sure. This is usually what Maddie's for,
Yeah.
but I could
But
probably agree with it.
I'm going to decide that the vet was where he was supposed to be versus the rookie. But that's just
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think, but I mean, even still, this is something that's kind of been a bugaboo that John Tortorella has had with Mitch Cobb, has been his positioning and some other minor things, mainly on the defensive side. Mitch Cobb just has to be better at that. Like, I love that he's out there. He's trying to make plays. He's trying to do a lot. And you're spot on, by the way, with 12 years.
yay.
Just, just
That
Mitch
brain
Cobb,
cell still exists.
yeah. But Mitch Cobb just has to be better at just being aware of his surroundings, who's around him, where he needs to be, just where the play is going. He's got such a great IQ with the puck. Growing pains. Like, we knew this kid was good. We knew he's good. We knew he was going to be good at a lot of things. I think we found the one thing that he's bad at, and that's just overall positioning and not just his off puck awareness. Just seems to be something he needs to work on. And a lot of it could just be as simple as his language barrier. Yeah, they say his English is getting better, but still, like, when you're not able to fully communicate with somebody, it gets really tough.
Yeah.
I've worked in a ton of restaurants in over 20 years. I've worked with guys who speak a ton of English. I've worked with guys who speak no English. It just makes it tough to put people where they're supposed to be when you can't properly communicate with them. So
you see it in every sport, a lot of language barrier between English and Latin speaking players. That's why you love how these young athletes really are driven to learn and speak the English language, because it's important to communicate, right? And mostly too, in this case, I think you have a young guy, 20 years old now, learning on the fly at the highest level. You're going to see these type of mistakes. But is that a save by Fedotov? He's stretching a little bit there.
He made a save. This is where I'm getting frustrated with Sanheim. Stop with the blind passing, trying to clear the zone. Take the time, take the puck, and go the opposite. Like, this is like the fifth time that he's caused that this kind of turnover, making this kind of play.
Going between his legs. Well, the puck was sort of rolling, though. It almost seemed like he was trying to stop it, not move it forward to his defense. But, either way, whatever he was doing, it didn't work. All right, so getting back to the road trip, it started off where the Flyers beat the Ducks 3-1, come back and face a tough Kings team, lose 5-4. As I said, shut out the Sharks at the Shark Tank 4-0. Lose to that tough Golden Knights team at home with the Vegas Flu 5-2, and then cap it off with an overtime thriller that the Maple Leafs squeaked out 3-2 that easily could have went the other way. So overall, when you look at this road trip, 2-3-1 record, finally getting home after the holiday trip is always nice, and we're seeing them getting some home cooking tonight. But overall, are you satisfied? Because we talked about like what would make this holiday trip a success last week. So do you think it was a success?
I think in a lot of ways it was. You go out and I hate saying this as a Ducks fan. I hate it. But you go out and you beat a team you're supposed to beat. You go into LA and you compete with another contender. Granted, a couple bounces didn't go their way. You had the lead, you couldn't hold it. I'll take that effort all day when you're putting up 4 goals. 4 goals in any normal game will get you a win. And then you rebound and you respond by smashing the Sharks 4-0. And it wasn't even close in any aspect, in my opinion. So as far as those first 3 games go, I thought it was very good effort. And then you hit Vegas. You kind of hit a brick wall, which is to be expected against a team like that. This team is just deep and fast, and they will hurt you in so many different ways. But what I did like is this team is responding to these losses. That's what I wanted to see. beat Anaheim, lose to LA, respond against the Sharks. Got the results there. Then you get smashed by Vegas. You come out and you compete with one of the best teams in the East, with Toronto. You get a point out of that. You don't necessarily get the win, which kind of sucks, but you went out and you put forth that effort. This is what I'm talking about with this team when I say the effort's eventually going to pay off in the result that you want. We're seeing the effort. Are they getting the payoff yet? No. But if they continue this effort pushing forward, it's a matter of time before they keep finding ways to win. And it's a confidence thing too. I think this team is playing more confident than it has all season long.
Agreed.
Especially TK. TK's on fire. Tippett, I'd like to see him more in the goal area, but if he's racking up points, I'm okay. But for me, for this team to take the next step, got to start. And Jesse said it on Flyers Alley. Cut the dead weight. It's time to figure out what dead weight you have and ship it out of here. There's guys in Lehigh that deserve a shot. Tumalu, for example number one.
Right.
He deserves a chance. He deserves a chance. He's been so good the last 2 years for the Phantoms. It's time to give him a crack. Ali Lixell, he's been really good every time he's up here. He may not always be on the score sheet, but he's doing something well. And then Andre Richard. Andre Richard, in his short time up here, has been really impactful. I think he's just about a goal per game in his time up here.
Strong special teams player as well.
Yeah. I think it was a success. I think there's changes to be made here to be able to take that next step. That's all. I think they're there. It's just there's a couple tweaks here and there I think they can make, and they can make the next step. But overall, yeah, I absolutely think it was a success.
And ultimately, you come out of this trip and you're still in contention for that second wild card, which is something to work for because you can gain experience. I know a lot of people are saying, no, finish lower in the standings. You can get a higher draft pick. I'd rather the experience, especially since you got players on this team that are your future. Case in point, Owen Tippett. Case in point, the Tyson Forrester, right? Mitchkov. You want to get them as much of a winning culture as possible because, in order to win, you got to fix the mistakes, and that's how you learn. So it's simple math, really.
Yeah.
Game tied 2-2, 13 minutes left to go in the third period. Still time to chime in on tonight's faceoff poll. The Flyers played good hockey despite their record and results coming off the road trip. And that's exactly what we're talking about now here on Flyers Talk A2D, brought to you by our doc. Make him yours. I'm going to give him love earlier in the show. It's Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC. He's got 2 locations, Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Check out our doc. Make them yours. Visit him, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. What have you seen this team do well in? And what do they need to improve upon? Like, let's get into the brass tacks here of, we talked about back checking. Does that need to be more consistent here for this Flyers team?
No, absolutely. We touched on it earlier in their show. It definitely needs to be. You saw example number 1 tonight on the Austin Matthews goal. You let one of the best goal scorers in the world slip right behind you. You got to keep him in front of you at all times because otherwise he's going to put it right where he wants to every single time if he has the space. That, to me, is one of the big things that they need to work on a little bit more consistently. And that even ties into what I was talking about earlier with Sanheim. A lot of times, I think these guys are just rushing the plays, and they don't have to. Sanheim had time. Wrap the puck around the backside of the net. Just wrap it around. Don't look it and hope that you're going to get it out of the zone. They have to figure out ways to clear the zone. That to me is their biggest bugaboo right now. And honestly, it's getting so infuriating watching. It is, because more times than not, their failed clear turns into a turnover, and a turnover turns into a goal. Come on, like, you're a professional. You don't know when you have the time. More times than not, they have the time. They rush to play. I don't know why. That to me is the biggest thing that they need to work on. That would probably cut their goal total, especially in the third period, in half. And they also have to figure out, for me, they have to figure out ways to close these games out.
Right.
You know.
Well, yep, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you're seeing tonight, Toronto's pushing. They're pushing for that goal. The Flyers got to push back. Otherwise, Toronto's going to take this game.
Certainly. Well, what's good is that we're seeing an improvement there on the penalty kill. I believe at least 10 of their last 11, if not 11 of their last 12. So that's been good over this road trip. That's been a force. You know, this team is really, I believe I saw in the ESPN Plus broadcast that they have the most shorthanded goals with 18 going back to last season to current. So this is a team that you can't be pinching on the opponent's power play no matter who you are. And it's made Toronto's power play quite ineffective tonight, as we're seeing it 10 minutes to go left in the third, still tied 2-2. Shots 21-13 in favor of the Flyers.
Yeah, like I said, Toronto's starting to push back a little bit. And for me, like I said, they got to figure out a way to get more time back in the zone, take the puck away from Toronto, and just play keep away. You know, wait until you have the moment, puck movement, take a good shot. Just try and hawk the puck as much as you can. You know, it's like when we were growing up playing keep away.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And I know you can't do it for 20 minutes. That'd be pretty impressive if they could.
Right.
But we know that there's going to be an opportunity for Toronto to have the chances. But,
right,
you know, just figure out ways to keep the puck away. Or at least if Toronto does get some time in the offensive zone, figure out ways to keep them to the outside. Keep them to the outside. Keep the center of the ice clear.
Keep it killer, absolutely, in the defensive zone. And we saw in the offensive zone something that impressed me tonight. This team's been putrid 4-on-4 in the few opportunities that they had, but they've been pretty bad if you look at the goal differential. And tonight they had a pretty solid 4-on-4 situation where, you know, unfortunately Tyson Forster with the high stick, you know, took an awful penalty to negate Flyers power play. So they went 4-on-4, and they were playing that game of keep away against some of the best players in the world. And it was designed with a way where, look, we want to be set up well to where eventually their guy's going to get out of the box and they're going to have a 30-second power play. We don't want to get caught flat-footed. That showed good hockey IQ, and that's the type of plays that I want to see, regardless of the results. Even though Austin Matthews came down and got that game-tying goal, right? You got to work on the back check. That's the next thing to learn from it, right? Mm-hmm. And you keep on learning and growing, and we saw evidence of that. But Benny, to your point, I do agree with you. The entry into the zones needs to improve. The puck distribution, we've seen that, you know, become a problem and an issue, specifically on the power play. And I want to see this team get back to utilizing the high slot again, like they did effectively over the past few years, because I believe their current roster could effectively run that. What up, Petey? Thanks for joining us as always, man.
GP, what up, Pete?
Yo.
I'm with you guys 100% on that.
Oh, look, another Rangers loss.
Oh, what a shame.
5-4 in overtime, Dallas Stars win.
Wow, 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 wow.
And then Patrick Kane with the game winner. I just saw it there, D.
Yeah.
Doing his Showtime celebration. Hey, I saw a poll the other day in one of my hockey groups asking what the best American-born player is, and nobody was talking about Patrick Kane. And you know, he's never been my favorite guy going back to 2010, but how do you not say Patrick Kane in that discussion. Mike Modano, sure, absolutely. Brian Leach, sure, absolutely, right? But Patrick Kane, he's been doing it for a long time now.
They didn't even like sniff his name.
No, didn't even sniff it.
How do you not? What?
Come on, yeah.
What kind of hockey fans are they?
I know.
I mean, you can throw John LeClaire in that mix. Obviously, for me, it's always going to be.
I did
Mike
see
Modano.
Johnny.
Every
I saw
time.
Johnny. I was so happy.
Okay, I know that. Yeah, that made you happy. For me, always like you know how much I love Patrick Kane. He's one of my favorite players in the NHL right now. But Mike Modano all day, every day. It's all day, every day. It's Mike Modano, best American-born player. But I'm also there to, as a Kane fan, and I'm one of the few, you got to throw his name in the hat. Because statistically, by the time he's done, he's going to be statistically the greatest American-born player of all time. There's no question about it.
No question.
There's no question about it. But I'm always going to say it's Mike Modano.
They need a new voice there, because like you talk about the same roster doing a complete 180, and guys, maybe you see some guys going off the proverbial cliff in terms of their career, because this was an aging team that had a shelf life to win. It may have expired.
No, it definitely
let me get all the Rangers digs in while Brad's on the mend. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, listen, get him in. I'm
sorry. I'm not sorry.
No, I wouldn't be sorry either. I'm not sorry. Shit. I mean, you hear how me and him go at it. Sorry, not sorry. I do see a couple of comments from Soup coming in, but they're not jumping up here on the side here, where it looks like we're only getting some YouTube comments. So I'm just going to read off Swoopy's here real quick. Swoopy says, "It's my guys. I love you all. Love you too, Swoop.
Happy New Year,
you guys
brother.
make my day. Appreciate that, brother. Always look forward to this crew and show." He does also go on to say, and obviously we appreciate the words. We always love having you in the chat, Swoopy. We love having all you guys in the chat. He goes to say, "Sorry, Brian, here I go again." You know where this is going. But yes, the Flyers need natural all-around great speedsters / skaters with stamina who don't get tired out easily. Goes on to say they are mads to play an all-out, or probably made to play an all-out, all-around aggressive man-to-man style. Yes, the scores too, Carolina style. Yeah, we know, Swoop. We know, brother.
But I'm swooping. I'm starting to see that, though, especially with the aggressiveness and the forecheck and the confidence there, right? I'm telling you, specifically with the Cates, Forrester, and Brink line, and that's contagious, and that's spreading around as well, right? I'm seeing like not only just an aggression, but like a strategic aggression. Right, where they're not getting caught pinched like they were earlier on in the season. Not at all. SJM, what's up, brother? What up, hockey fan? Flyers keeping it close against premier teams. Love that they're competitive again, young, and are growing before our very eyes. Let's fucking go. Rangers absolutely stink. Bathe in tears, Brad. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness.
I'm actually glad he brought that up, because I'm going to take my turn on what Don said. Don, first of all, appreciate you, brother. Glad you're back in the chat. They've flat out given up. They have flat out given up. Ever since that GM Chris Drury made the comments that he did, this team has gone downhill.
Yep.
They have given up on this guy. Time to move on from him.
Fire everybody.
I'm okay with Lively sticking around, because he can only do so much, but this team has flat out given up. There's way too much talent and skill on this team for the Rangers to be as bad as they are. And I know Brad's going to say otherwise. This guy stinks. This guy stinks. Trade them all. Zibanejad, he sucks. No, none of them do. They've flat out given up. They have flat out given up on this regime that they have there.
I wasn't laughing at what you were saying. I was laughing at the ESPN Plus broadcast was showing Lawton, who's back on the bench from getting the wind knocked out of him. give Mitchkov a little kiss on the visor, saying it's okay, buddy, you'll learn.
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
Good
even if you were
chemistry on
laughing at
this
me, it
team.
didn't. Yeah, even if you were laughing at me, I don't care. Like, it's the flat out truth, though. Look at
Right.
Shesterkin. Shesterkin just signed one of the probably the biggest contract any goaltender's ever signed. You really think he's as bad as he's playing right now? Zibanejad,
No.
granted, not the greatest two-way player, more of a playmaker. You really think he's a minus whatever he is right now, 21, 20, 22? He's not. All these guys, their stats are worse this year than they have been ever in their career. Maybe except
one of
for
those
last year.
seasons, you're going to have them.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing goes right. You just, all see. Toronto goes ahead 3-2. Believe it was a deflection in front of the net.
I'm looking at the replay right now.
Or tip in. And hit Nyes.
Well, of course it was. Because
Yep.
why wouldn't it be?
Yep.
But yeah, so Rangers flat out gave up. That's my 2 cents on the Rangers. That's a shame. Now it's time to see these boys respond and see how they respond. Now you've got a little over 6.5 minutes left to go in this game. You're down 1. You've pretty much single-handedly had this game for the first 40 minutes or so. You knew that Toronto was going to come out in the third period and press. Now it's time for you to go out and respond, and they actually really good scoring chance right there by Tyson Forster. If they can,
they've responded all year, and we've seen that
Mhm.
now. And now Toronto. Oh, what a great! I just saw that play now. Diving.
Yeah, absolutely killer scoring chance by Tyson Forster. Yeah. What a total.
Yeah, I mean that's good hands in front of the net. You had two. You got to clear the porch there. That's what you got to do. Like you had 2 guys that could have gotten a stick on that, right? So the up top guy, Matthew Nyes, gets his stick on it and drives it home. You can't fault Fedotov there, and Toronto takes a 3-2 lead here. But this team has shown resiliency, and you still got to love this competitive fire against one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, let alone the Atlantic Division.
No, I absolutely agree. You got to clear the porch there, take the body, tie some sticks up. You got to do what you got to do there. They are very forgiving referees in that area there. Take some shots, push, shove, tie sticks up. They're gonna let you play in that area. It's called the dirty area for a reason. Get in there, grind it out. It's an unfortunate goal. I don't fault really anybody for that. Deflections are really nobody's fault. They kind of just happen. But again, you gotta figure out a way to tie up Matthew Nyes' stick there. Easily a avoidable goal score there.
Right. Well, what you're seeing here is that, like, let's face facts, especially on the blue line, this is a team that lacks size. And I think that's something that the Flyers needs to really focus on in the 2025 draft in terms of not only defense, but sizable defensemen. And, I'm streaming through a couple top prospects here. I see Matthew Schaefer. I'm familiar with that Canadian defenseman. He's 6'2", 183. He can easily grow into a 200-pound defenseman. That's the type of guys that I would like to focus on. Just for example, I could go through random names X, Y, and Z. Doesn't mean a whole hell of beans right now, but that's something that this team needs to focus on, whether it be through the draft or through trade.
Yeah. No, for sure. I would say via trade right now. See if there's any young guys that you can probably pull away from another team for the right price. 6 picks in the first 2 rounds. Somebody will pay. Somebody will take that price. But Flyers have an opportunity here, as Benny is seeing here. Got a power play coming up as soon as they're back from the TV timeout. Huge opportunity for the Flyers to tie this game right back up. And this is another area for me for the Flyers that has to take a step forward. They were really good earlier in the season. They've cooled off quite a bit since then. This is where you got to give Mitchkov the rock and let him do what he does with it. Huge opportunity here. Got to tie this game up. Got to at least get another point here.
We saw it beat them on a one-timer on their previous power play, which took an awfully good save from Joseph Wall to make in order to keep him off the score sheet, set him up again. Of course, Toronto's going to be hip to that scene too. What adjustments can the kid make? That's what's going to be key in this power play.
I got a couple comments here from Swoopy here, since for some reason Facebook comments aren't coming up on the feed here. Swoopy says, is it any coincidence Rod Brindamore was my favorite all-time Flyer because of his style of play, and his coaching and team style is my favorite? He also goes on to say, by the way, how about Brendy being the fastest to 300 wins as a coach? I forget the exact details and specifics, but he was first to 300.
I'm not surprised at all. He's had good squads. He was a coach while he was a player.
Yeah, he was. And you know what? That style works for Carolina. And it's continued success with guys who aren't really superstars. They got stars, but they don't have any superstars. Svechnikov is great. And then Jacob Slavin as well. But it's huge power play here for the Flyers here.
What speaks volumes is that you have Risto as your lone defenseman there when you have guys like Cam York and Jamie Drysdale on this team, right? That just goes to show the underperformance.
No, absolutely. And they're moving the puck well here on this.
There's Jamie.
Yeah, on this I guess, stint on the power play. A couple good chances, but they're not getting anything on net yet. A lot of back and forth. Mitch Cobb behind the net doing his thing. And lost it.
Yeah, too much outside. That's a key time where you can hit the guy in the high slot. They're giving it to you. Take it.
Absolutely. Even Mitch Cobb behind the net. Take the time. Take the time. They're not going to come after you. Allow something to develop. There's a lot of guys. Like, look at Gretzky. Gretzky was the king of making plays from behind the net. That's his office. Nobody's going to challenge you behind the net. Just be patient. And the power play's gone.
Yeah, again, another bouncing puck off the stick of Tippett, but the ice is playing choppy. So it gets a little frustrating. It's these times where you need an Owen Tippett to step up and score that game-tying power play goal.
No, absolutely.
And we didn't get it.
Absolutely. I didn't really see anybody in front of the net either, which, me. Oh, big turnover there. Oh, what a save on Risto. Oh, Phil Meyer making his presence felt. Old friend.
No kidding.
I'm actually happy to see that he's maintained a job in the NHL. I've always liked him as the third pair.
I agree.
Yeah, you had Noah Cates right there. They're showing some of the replays. You know what Cates out in front. I mean, Mitch Kov is out in front, but he's not really doing anything to take away the goaltender's eyes. Especially a big body like Risto, you got to get out in front of the net.
I mean, credit to Mitchkov trying to make the adjustment and then playing behind the net there.
But again, you don't really have anybody pressuring you. Take the time.
Right.
Take the time. Allow something to open up.
Right, exactly. Because in the end, Mitchkov's more effective in front of that goal line on a one-timer.
No, 100%. I like the pressure. I like the pressure for sure. About 2:40 remaining here in the third period.
Excellent. Now I know I'm 14 seconds behind. Sweet.
I'll try and reserve myself.
Oh, it's all good. It's just like it's key times like this where it's like they're just missing that extra little piece here, that extra little piece there.
And like to Brad's point, and I'm not saying that Brad's wrong when he says this. This is where having a bona fide sniper would be great.
Right.
But I do think they have. I think they have enough goal scoring. You just need these guys to develop.
Right.
Guys like Brink. And an unofficial power play. Oh, threw it out in front.
I mean, just to have guys. I mean, TK you could put up. You know, he has both Philadelphia Flyers goals tonight, so you can put up into that transfer as Austin Matthews has, say, calling him the most underrated player in the NHL.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I love the way Bobby and Forrester moved the puck in front of the net and just have that physical. You know, that's what they need to really work on.
Oh, dude, this line is so good right now. Cates, Forrester, they're working so hard.
SJM going, I know Brian mentioned it, greatest American-born NHL players ever. Patrick Kane, when it's all said and done, is most likely the greatest. However, Chris Chelios has been the number one. I wish I didn't read that. I always remember what he did to Brian Propp, so I'm sorry. That's why I'm an old head. I'm an old head.
That
was he good? Absolutely. You know, he was good at being. I'm about to see something good, I think. Oh. So many times we've seen that too through the blue paint.
Oh, there's another power play coming. There better be after that. What the frick was that?
Yeah, interference has to be, right? Oh, and then the shove, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the difference with this Toronto Maple Leafs team versus past teams. They play tougher. You know, they play a more physical brand of hockey, and it's about time that they've tried to institute that because you need that come playoff time.
No, absolutely. They're going to call just Matthew Nice for hooking. I'm curious of what sparked that shove there as they're showing the replay. What was that? How does that not draw an additional 2? He was completely unprovoked.
Yeah, right. What, because he was jabbing at the puck while he was on?
I don't get that one.
Yeah.
That's a missed call. And I don't complain about missed calls. You know that.
Yeah. I know that awfully well. I like Tippett getting right up there in his face, though.
Oh, for sure. Now, this is a prime opportunity. Now, granted, it's only 47.2 seconds. You 6-on-4. So, essentially, you have a 2-man advantage. I did want to see that other replay, though, because I wanted to see if that puck was rolling on Tippett and that's why he missed the net. All right, you got to put the puck on net here, boys.
Doesn't help when you don't win the face-off.
No.
Feels like Toronto's winning the face-off circle tonight.
Yeah. I like this view, by the way.
Yeah. Always from the power play behind the net.
Oh, man.
Good shot up there. Took a tough save, getting the shoulder up high by Wall.
Yeah, a couple good chances there for the Flyers power play. I want to see what that penalty on Drysdale was. But of course, they're not going to show it.
I admit I didn't see it.
Trip. There it is. Yeah, unfortunately.
TK just missed.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Morris, what's up, man?
That's the type of thing you need to put your whistle in the pocket there. I'm sorry. I agree with you, Morris, right there. He's trying to play the puck. It's not like he's playing behind, trying to catch up on the forward.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Right. I agree with the ant. You know, he does, like Fort Frost is not the guy. You know.
No.
And I'm gonna eat crow. Preseason, I was saying this guy could. You know, I was expecting him to take the next step this year, and I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah, and we're going final 3-2. Leaves win. I'm not going to undersell how well the Flyers were here. Granted, again, they didn't get the result that they were looking for. They got an unfortunate bounce that led to that third goal for Toronto. But all in all, I thought this was a very good effort game. I thought Joseph Wall was exactly what his name is. He was just a Wall. He was really good. The Flyers just couldn't capitalize on some of the chances that they had. They needed to find some finish. But to basically have a home and home against essentially a cup contender and walk away with, unfortunately, you wanted to try and get 4 points out of this, but you got 1 in 2 losses. You competed with them. You were in it every step of the way. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the positives out of this game. And we're going to move on to the next one. You got Dallas coming up on Thursday.
Who just, boat raced the Rangers. That's piling on. But I'm mad. I really thought that the Flyers put a solid effort tonight. It's just the mistakes, right? And it's all about entering the zone, coughing up the puck. We saw that result in the go-ahead goal, and not getting proper defensive position in front of one of the best goal scorers in the league. That's ultimately what cost. Of course, we'll get fined for his post-game comments. I see it coming. I thought the game was going that way, right? But when I looked at whose boarding call was it Tippett? It was Tippett's boarding call, right? I thought Torts was about to lose his shit. And then he watched the replay just like I did and went, oh, yeah, that's boarding.
Mm-hmm. It was.
But he was ready. You saw the nostril hairs flowing in the wind.
I can't. No, I was kind of like, I don't know. That looked, he was like, he hit him on the side. No, his numbers were showing. He had that space between him and the board. So it was absolutely boarding. But, I mean, officiating is never going to be perfect until it's robots. And it's never going to be. At least not in the NHL, unless they figure something out. But team is a rebuilding team. You're going to see these mistakes. You're going to see these results where the effort's going to be there and they're not going to have the scoring chances. But I do have a question for you, Robbie, before we wrap it up and get out of here. What we're seeing out of Tippett this year, do you think that this is possibly the reason why we saw Florida give up on him so quickly? The inconsistencies, being able to find the back of the net. Great year last year, but he's not quite having the finish this year.
Somewhat. I think Tippett's situation was they're so loaded at forward depth that you're just not going to get him the ice time. So let's move an asset, get a big piece in Claude Giroux, right? What were there inconsistencies in Florida? Yes, but I think a lot of that was to do with the ice time. Now he is getting the ice time, right? It varies a little bit the way Torts likes to do it, right? But you see upwards of 13, 14 minutes, maybe as low as 11, 12 minutes for Tippett. But I just like, even when he's not getting the results, he's still showing good hockey IQ. He's still showing balls to the wall effort, right? I think with him, just like we saw with TK from the spotter, right? He's playing a little undisciplined right now. You gotta. Hockey's a game of emotion, and Tippett's the type of guy. Go figure, a redhead that gets a little fiery, and you got to learn how to curtail that and use that as fuel. And this is something he's still learning as a young player in this league, right? I have no doubts that he can become the consistent goal scorer that the Flyers traded their once former great captain here.
Yeah. No, I was just curious because you definitely need to see a little bit more out of him as far as the scoring goes, for sure. I mean, he did sign that 8-year deal. He's making a lot of money
Right.
to not be scoring goals, especially after last year. He's got the scoring touch. We know that. We know he can do it. We saw it in Florida. We saw it last year. We're seeing signs of it this year. He's getting himself in a position.
Right.
I think it could be something as simple as, and I've been saying this. I said this tonight. I've been saying this a lot for some of these guys. Could be something as simple as just rushing himself.
Oh, yeah.
Not being able to set the puck where he wants to set it based off of what his curve is on his stick.
Totally rushing the shot, right? How many times do you see his shots take off and hit the glass or the safety netting, right?
Yeah.
You got to get more pucks. You get more rubber on net, you're going to get more goals. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. And what Kevin Weeks was saying too is, when the puck is on edge, when it's rolling, anything like that, the puck goes legitimately anywhere. It's not going to essentially go where you want it to go. You got to give yourself a second to be able to settle that puck. And at that point, just throw it where it needs to go. Yeah, Benny, absolutely. Right. Slow it down. Just a hair. Great scoring opportunity for him tonight. Wide open net. You take that extra second to settle the puck, and then you just launch it. Wrist shot, snapshot, you're going to get a quick release off the shot. So you don't necessarily have to let it go at that second. But, it's tough with one-timers because if you don't get it in the right spot of the blade, it's not going to go exactly where you're aiming it. Sure. Especially depending on what stick curve that he decides he wants to use.
This is truth. But in the end, yeah, y'all see Nye's neck. Jesus. No, I did not.
I missed it.
But I will say this, though. I mean, against a really formidable offense, right? You saw this team hold them, I believe, under 20 shots on that. Was it 18 for?
I believe so.
Yeah, last I saw for the Maple Leafs, even if they topped over 20, that's still decent for a team that is 8th in the league in shots on goal. So that's what you have to do. You have to see, after every game, and this is what Torts does fabulously. You analyze this team and you say what worked, what didn't, what needs to get better, right? And right now, puck control, right now, puck distribution. To Benny's point, especially on the power play, use the high slot. These are all lessons, and what's great is that you see this team developing and utilizing these lessons like we saw in 4-on-4 play tonight. So, that's what was really encouraging for me. As this team continues to grow and rebuild, we're going to see it in the special teams. And that's what needs to get drastically better. Looked pretty good on the penalty kill tonight. Had a couple great short odd man rushes, if that makes sense. But that's what it did. And Paling's going to be, maybe throwing out his hockey sticks and getting new ones because he had a couple, at least one breakaway that rolled right off his stick tonight. So, but these are the type of things that, until this team gets higher level skilled players, you're going to have these type of errors.
No, and especially with some of these other guys, they still got to develop, I saw Heather's comment earlier saying that they need to beat the Stars. No, you just have to go out and put out a good effort. I know she's still relatively new to the show, but this season's not about wins and losses. It's about development and seeing who's going to be long-term pieces to this puzzle that is going to help this team get back to the playoffs.
Right.
And we're finding pieces of the puzzle that aren't quite fitting into it. So now we might need to trade a couple pieces away and add a couple in the draft, maybe allow a couple guys from Lehigh to come up and see if they can make an impact. But I mean, all in all, as long as they put forth efforts like this, efforts like the other night in Toronto, efforts in San Jose, LA, Anaheim, 5 of the last 6 games, I'm very pleased with how things have gone. As long as they continue to put forth this effort, the confidence is going to continue to build. The effort's going to turn into results. The consistencies of moving forward in the rebuild, playing the offensive zone, power play, penalty kill. Find that consistency, continue to put forth that effort, continue to work hard like they have been doing. The results will turn theirs. And they'll start finding the back of the net a little bit more. They're going to get their payday. Wins are nice. But for a team that's rebuilding, it doesn't really matter. You're building a culture as well. You want to build that culture inside the locker room. And a lot of that is going to come from hard work, effort, and knowing that as long as we continue the path that we're on, the results, the wins, they're going to come with it.
Indeed, especially when you outshoot the final shot total tonight, 32 for the Flyers, 17 for Toronto Maple Leafs. So more wins will come on the horizon for the Philadelphia Flyers. So, well, Brian, we did it. The dynamic covering an hour 20 plus. Yeah, tough loss. Definitely, Tommy. What's going on, brother? But that's all right, though. That's all right. It's a lot of positives as you listen to on the show to build off of tonight. And you played a pretty tough Toronto team. Got to move on. Dallas is next up on the calendar. One more comment here. Morris Luongo going, can't afford guys to get old in the minors if they aren't players. They're pieces for trades to get players that for that puzzle. Yeah, 100% agree. 100% agree to that. Well, before we get out of here, I want to wish Brad Ryer get well soon, brother. I'm not going to air your business, but get well soon. Thoughts and prayers for you. Maddie, we miss you. Maybe he's still hungover from New Year's. I don't know, but hopefully we will see him soon. But Don, always great to have you here in the fam. Thank you very much. Patrick Kane, yeah, probably the best American-born player. I think we established that tonight. It's been a fun show, Brian.
Oh, dude, it's always a blast.
It's always a blast. And paying the bills for tonight's show, as always, is the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, with 2 locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Check out our doc. Make them yours. Visit them at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. We will catch you next week here on A2D Radio for Flyers Talk A2D. That's been, yes, I pointed the right way, Brian Daly. This is Rob Povey. We will catch you next week. Thank you as always, fam. We love you. Peace. Best wishes.
Be good.